Hello, hello, hello. This is CRP speaking to you live. I'm so sorry for the delay. It couldn't be helped. I just had to go to the bathroom. Sorry about that. Before we get started, as usual, could I see a show of hands as to whether you can hear me properly? I'd so appreciate it. Just raise your hand, hit that little hand button there to make sure that you can hear me properly. Great, terrific. Yeah. Yeah, and once again, I'm sorry about that. I was all set to go, and then I just had to go, man. What can I say? That's life. So anyway, I hope you all are well today. I hope you've had a good week. It's been quite a week. We'll talk about it in the Q&A part, but we had the whole Kamala Harris, however you pronounce her goddamn name. And no, it's not racist if you don't know how to pronounce her name. It's just she has an unusual name. Simple as that. And it doesn't mean anything. Okay. So don't let the bastards get you down if they say that you're being a racist for mispronouncing that awful woman's name. Because see, it doesn't matter how you pronounce her name, she's still a piece of shit individual. It's simple as that. Okay. So anyway, we'll get to that in the Q&A. But for now, what we are going to talk about is women and sex. Yeah. Yeah, what you all came for. Yeah. Yeah. I give people what they want. And what do guys want me to talk about? They want me to talk about women. And I'm going to be talking about why women today are so into DNS, dominance and submission. Now, originally I was going to do like a video of this, and I had it sort of like sketched out that, I'll do a video of this, and then I came to my senses and I realized, what the fuck am I thinking? If I do a video about this shit, they'll come hunt me down or something like that. So of course, automatically then I thought, aha, Patreon. And then I realized that not only was I going to do it on Patreon insofar as the video is concerned, but I realized that, my usual 15-minute video was just not going to do the topic justice, because it's a really interesting topic. It's an interesting topic, and I think a lot of guys are confused about it. And a lot of guys don't quite see it. As an older guy, I can see it really, really clearly. And I understand the sources of it in a way that younger guys don't, because younger guys don't have a point of comparison. This is the way things are for you. If you're a young guy, be it under 30, under 35, right? Me, as an old fart of 52, growing up in the 70s and the 80s, I started dating in 83, 84. And so I get a better sense of how things have evolved and how women are really into DNS. The full term is BDSM, bondage, domination, submission, masochism. But really, the two key letters are DNS, dominant submission, because bondage and masochism and sadism, they're all, how could I put it? They're subcategories of the basic relationship of dominance submission. It's very important to understand it, because actually I understood dominance and submission in the 80s because of men that I had heard of, executives, powerful guys, bankers, who were into, getting beat up by a dominatrix. And I thought that that was just so fucking weird, right? I just didn't get it. And I heard about this by way of an eavesdrop conversation that my old man, who was a banker, was having with another banker, that they were talking about a third party, a colleague of theirs, and they were all like, just sort of like creeped out by it, and yet at the same time, they were unsurprised by it. And getting into it, and not getting into it myself, rather, let me phrase that, but reading about it and finding out more about it at the time, I started to understand the nature of it. To me, me being a very bossy guy, me being a guy whose insecurities make him need to dominate a situation and have control of a situation, I have never understood this dynamic of people wanting to surrender control. But I have noticed that a lot of women, a lot of young women today, really want to be submissive. A few of them want to be dominant, and a few of them really strive to be dominant. But a much larger proportion of them are into submissiveness in a huge way. And it's not obvious. You have to sort of like dig into it a little bit. You dig in and then you'll all of a sudden come across it like a load of ore. And it can change your dynamic with a woman. And to tell you the truth, I've realized that most young women, and this is going to sound outrageous, but you're going to have to hear me out. Most young women, they want to submit. They want to submit. Okay? And they are deeply dissatisfied that they are unable to submit. They are looking for it. And sometimes they find it sexually, but it's not enough. They are looking for a psychological submission. And this presents very interesting opportunities for a guy who understands this and uses it to his advantage. It's a very interesting situation. So, without further ado, let me get started in the discussion. Here's an outline of the show. Okay, so why are women today so into dominance and submission? Well, they are into it more than ever before. They are into also sexual infantilism. Okay. Now, by the way, there is no source I can cite for this. Okay. I mean, remember the typical nerdy guy, the fedora wearer who says, sources, please. Well, I can't bring you any source because nobody's really looking into it. But I myself, in my own experiences dating in the contemporary culture today, which I do actively, and talking to other men who also date, and other men, more importantly, other men who are not losers, who are not weaklings. And also hearing the stories that losers and weaklings tell me about how they dated somebody and sort of like fell apart. I've come to the conclusion that most young women today, I'm talking 80 to 90% of women under the age of 27, are looking for a DNS relationship, specifically for them to be submissive. They are looking for it. Sometimes they are not able to articulate it, sometimes they are, but they want it. And sometimes this shades into sexual infantilism, the so-called DDLG dynamic, that is daddy dom little girl. That's what it stands for. And also sometimes into sadomasochism. They are looking for this. They want to be on the receiving end. They want to be submissive. They want to be the little girl to the daddy dom. They want to be the masochist to the male sadist. This is true. Right now, sexologists, people who are studying this current contemporary sexuality might not want to talk about this. They might not be investigating it, but it's true. This is what's going on. Now, the issue becomes why? Because you always want to start with why. Why is something happening? Now, there are multiple reasons. Like anything complex, there are multiple reasons that intersect, and they sort of like help each other to accentuate the phenomena you are seeing, okay? On their own individually, they might account for a certain percentage, but all together, they push many women into this desire. The first is, of course, women have too many choices, okay? Now, it's a known fact in psychology. I mean, it's as old as black ink, that when people have too many choices, they are unable to decide on what to do. And you see this all the time. You go to a supermarket and you have to buy toilet paper, and there are 50 brands, and you can't make up your mind. You're there for half an hour and you can't decide over fucking toilet paper. It's a natural human phenomena. When there are limited choices, it's much easier to decide. When there is only one choice, the choice is easy to them all. Either do that thing or not. See, you go to a store and you see that they only have one brand of toilet paper. You look at it and you say, well, do I want to get this kind or look someplace else for another? On, off. That's the easiest decision. But if it's the choice between A, B, C, D, all the way to Z, and then double A, AB, AC, and all the way on, it becomes impossible. This is a problem also in economics, cost of opportunity. A lot of economists have studied this, and I think one of them won a Nobel Prize over this insight, that when there are too many choices, the inability to decide becomes in and of itself a choice. And that choice leads to a cost, okay? So women have too many life options. And that's why they're sort of like indecisive. They think that any choice that they make might be the bad choice, the incorrect choice. And so they're paralyzed. On the other hand, women have too much pressure. Women today are pressured to pursue high stress and competitive jobs and careers, which goes against women's inherent nurturing instincts. Now, why do they have inherent nurturing instincts? Because they raise children. Because women are, by evolution, the primary caretaker of children. This is by evolution, because human children on their own cannot survive. It's as simple as that. A newborn child cannot survive. You know, a newborn turtle, for instance, you know, a female turtle lays eggs on a beach. And after a few weeks or whatever, those eggs start to hatch, and those baby turtles get out of their egg shells, break out from underground, from underneath all the sand, right? And they start swimming into the ocean. They can survive on their own. Many of them will be eaten, yes, but assuming there are no predators and no accidents, a baby, a newborn turtle will survive into adulthood. An infant child cannot. It's impossible because their brains need further development. And because of that, a woman has to take care of the child. And because of that, evolution has bred women, literally bred them, to be more nurturing. They are inherently more nurturing, and it's the reason why women tend to gravitate towards the caring professions, teaching, nursing, hospice care. 90% of nurses are female. Why do you think that is? Because the nursing schools are discriminating against men? No, it's because more women want to be nurses. That's why. It's not more complicated, because it's their instinct. But our contemporary capitalist society pushes women into high stress jobs, competitive jobs, and careers that demand not nurturing instincts, on the contrary, highly competitive instincts, split-second decisions, constantly smiling while inside you're dying. You see that all the time. And so they are under enormous pressure. They have too many choices. And on top of that, they have weak men, because men are today taught to respect all women. Men are further taught to be to stand down. Men are taught not to be aggressive. Men are taught not to be men, but they're taught to be defective girls, basically, to be weak, to stand down, to be soy boys. They are encouraged to be so by the society around us, right? Therefore, these men are passive and or unassertive. Unassertive in the sense that, you know, you see this all the time. You hear some couple and they go to a restaurant or the, you know, the Burger King or whatever, and the guy will be like, I don't know what to eat. Should I eat this or should I eat that? Should I eat the double Whopper with cheese or the super Whopper with bacon? And like this, I don't know. What do you think? And they go on and on and on over a fucking hamburger, right? They are unable to make up their minds. What do you think that makes a woman feel? Makes her feel insecure, deeply insecure. She has a weak man, a man who is not decisive. And see, a woman needs a decisive man because, again, evolution. A woman needs a man to protect her. A woman needs a man who will literally bring home the bacon. Go out there to the jungle, you know, hunt the woolly mastodon and bring back the food so that she, their child, and the man can all survive. If the man is not assertive and goes out there and hunts the woolly mammoth, the woman and their child will die, because a woman cannot both take care of the child and go out into the world and collect the calories necessary to survive. She needs a man. That's the whole point of the man-woman relationship. So if the men are weak, it makes the woman feel insecure. So she is too many choices. She is under too much pressure. And the men that she has been taught to want, to desire, the man who respects all women, blah, 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 right? The soy boy, well, she feels insecure with him, like he cannot defend her. So she feels under enormous pressure and she's frightened. That's what's going on. People under excessive pressure often find an outlet by way of submission. Now, this is the insight I gathered back in the late 70s or early 80s or whenever it was that I heard that conversation. I must have been like 11 or 12 years old, okay? I was really young when I heard that conversation. It freaked the fuck out of me. I thought it was just the weirdest fucking thing. I mean, I'd only recently understood where babies came from. Yeah, and don't laugh at me, you know? I mean, like I never really thought about it until I was like 10 years old, 11 years old or something. It just never occurred to me, you know? Babies come, I don't know where they come from. I don't care, it's just like a non-issue. I never thought of it. And of course, I was prepubescent. There was no puberty going on, so no desire to fuck everything that moves as I would have when I was 13 and 14, right? And so the point, when I heard this story of grown men, they were talking about an individual whom I'd actually met at a cocktail party at my parents. When you're little, when you're like 10, 11, right? And your parents throw a cocktail party and they let you like circulate a little bit. And then it's like, okay, it's 9 o'clock, time to go to sleep, right? And so like that kind of situation, I met him and he seemed like a really great guy, an older guy, like very much in control. And I heard that he had been into, he'd had a dominatrix who'd whip him. And I'd be like, why the fuck would anybody want that? Of course, I didn't say in those language, those words, because of course I didn't use those words because I was, like I said, 11, 12. But I thought, why would anybody in their right mind do that? And of course, you find out as you grow older that a lot of men under enormous pressure, men who have to make very large decisions all day long that involve the fates of tens, hundreds, sometimes thousands of people and their employment, right? They need an outlet. They need a place where they can mentally relax, where they no longer have to make decisions. On the contrary, all the decisions have been made by somebody else, or somebody else is making them for them. They need that, okay? We all need that. We all need a time and a place where we can just disconnect and not have to make any decisions. And by the way, parenthetically, it's important that you find such a place. I have such a place. And you know what it is? I go periodically to a wellness center, the spa. It's fantastic. I go to this spa and it's like a whole day thing. And it's like a whole day program of just pampering and just chilling out. And I get massaged and, they do my nails, my toenails and everything. And I'm just like, they just take care of me. And it's all on a set schedule. And I don't have a watch. I don't have a phone. I don't have a computer. I don't have a book. I don't have a notebook. Nothing. I just sit there and allow them to say, okay, here we go here, then we go there. I am completely passive. And it is incredibly liberating, I get a massage, and like one of these deep tissue massages or whatever, and it's a whole day thing, and it costs me like 500 euros, right? And it's like it's kind of expensive for just a fucking single day of massage. It's worth it because psychologically, I don't have any decision making. I don't have to do anything. I just have to relax. And it is so freeing, right? Each man should find that place where he goes and he surrenders his free will. That's the point. See, because all human beings need to surrender their free will. All human beings, and I would venture to say all mammals, need to get stoned. Stoned in the sense of just be mentally gaga, okay? Either on a drug or on a spa treatment, or as in the case of like some banker who gets whipped by a dominatrix downtown for, $1,000 an hour or whatever the fuck. Everybody needs that escape from their own ego, okay? And it's important that you figure that out for yourself, what that is. Women are no exception. Women need that escape. They need an off switch from those demands that are encroaching on their minds. What's interesting is that, see, men do not have the escape valve that women do. Women's escape valve is crying. I mean, you've seen women, sometimes things aren't going their way and they'll like go to the bathroom or their bedroom or whatever and they'll cry, almost like on a schedule. They'll cry for 15, 20, 30 minutes, right? And then they'll feel all better. I mean, it's some sort of like emotional release that they can do, an emotional safety valve. Not all women. And I'm noticing that fewer and fewer have this emotional release valve. More and more women are essentially being told that they shouldn't cry, which is really interesting because it's one of the great advantages that women have over men, that escape valve, right? But anyway, a lot of these women, they no longer have that off switch, that escape, that safety valve. They are under all this pressure to do well. They have all these choices, which are enormously time consuming and troubling for them, because when you have too many choices, you're never sure if you made the right choice, right? And on top of that, they don't have a man that they can depend on because all the men have been trained to be weak, to be unassertive, to be passive, to quote unquote respect all women. And because of all of this, because of all this pressure that they have and this need to come to an off switch, a lot of them gravitate towards relationships that are dominant submissive. A lot of them. A lot of them gravitate to daddy dom little girl relationships where they want to be deliberately infantilized. I'm talking to the point where they are happy to dress up like a little child and be treated like a little child. When I talk about submission, I'm talking to the point where some women are more than happy for you to put a dog collar on them with a leash and parade them around like a little puppy, like a little doggy around the house. Yeah, they need it. They need it. They need that escape in a way that for some guys, it'll be like sort of like surprising. But you have to understand that women are under far more pressure than men. You who are a young guy, you think that you have pressure. Women are under so much more pressure because not only are they being pressured with too many choices, not only are they being pressured with getting a good job and a career and whatnot, they're also being pressured by way of competition with other women to look good, to maintain their weight, to wear makeup, to dress nice. It's all of these elements of pressure that add up bit by bit, and they are looking for a way to release it. It seems hard to believe if you're a guy, but that's what's going on with these women. Understand it, okay? I mean, if anything, you have to understand the pressure that these women are under, and therefore it becomes incredibly obvious and clear why they are looking for dominant submission relationships. Because of this female need to be free of responsibility and pressure, males who are assholes are more sexually successful than ever before. You got to understand that. It's not that assholes have always been successful. No, that's not the case. It's only recently because these assholes are responding to a need of the market. You see? And it seems hard to believe because you see assholes today and they seem so successful with women, and you think that this is the natural state of affairs. In the past, the nice guy did win out. I'm talking like the 1950s and earlier, when life was harder and yet women were not under so much pressure and it was socially acceptable for a woman to find a nice husband and settle down. Nice guys did far better. They were much more sexually successful than they are today. Of course, when I say sexually successful, what I mean is that they would find a girlfriend and that girlfriend would quickly convert into a wife, and they'd have a sexually and emotionally satisfying relationship. This was more common in the past because women had less pressure and there was more difficulty in life encouraging women to find the right guy, and also, of course, the society in general looked with very good eyes on a woman finding a nice guy and quote unquote settling down. You see? But well, that's no longer the case. And so now you have these assholes who are much more successful than anybody else. But you have to start analyzing these assholes and looking at them carefully. Are they assholes? Well, it depends on what you mean by asshole, because see, they are not rude or cruel, okay? A lot of guys who want to be these sexually successful assholes figure, oh yeah, if I just treat women like dirt, I'll get my way, and they fail. They fail grotesquely because it's not an issue of being rude or cruel, okay? The issue is putting compliance demands for a woman, okay? It's relieving a woman of their need to choose, making decisions for them, and setting for them specific tasks that they must do to keep the asshole happy. Okay? Let me explain this, so you get a clearer picture. Suppose I'm the asshole, right? I'm the asshole that we're going to be talking about, right? So I meet some girl, okay? Now, I meet her, I talk with her, I meet her, say, at a museum, okay? I'm actually going to do a video in a little bit called Museums and Women, and I'm going to challenge people to go to a museum and pick up a woman there. You'd be surprised, you'll be very successful. I've picked up many, many women at museums, okay? Because it's a great place to pick up women, because you catch them with their guard down. They view you with very different eyes than if you pick them up at, say, at some club or out on the street. You're in some museum, you're more educated. It's all kinds of good things for you if you pick up a girl at a museum, but that's for another video. I'm at a museum. I chat with some girl over some painting, and I charm her, I make her smile, right? And I say to her, hey, let's go get a coffee. Or even better, hey, I want a coffee. Not, would you like a coffee? Not, would you like to join me in a coffee? No, you don't give her options. See? From the very beginning, you eliminate options. You say, I want this. And it is tacitly implied that she will follow along. And what will happen is she will. That's the key issue. Make compliance demands. You want something and she has to comply with it. And it's, of course, a reasonable demand. I'm talking to some girl at a museum in front of a painting. I just started talking to her. We're talking 5 minutes. I've made her laugh 2, 3 times. She's getting into me. I say to her, I want a coffee. Come on. What's she going to say? Nothing. She's just going to go along. Why? Because I'm not giving her options. The only option she has really would be to say, no, I don't want to get a coffee with you. And of course, she's never going to say that because it would totally break the flow of the interaction we were having. I keep on talking to her as I lead towards the coffee place, the coffee shop in the museum, right? And I get to the coffee shop and I say to her, do you want something? No, 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 don't say that. What I say is, you look like a mocha frappuccino girl. I tell her what she wants. And what will happen is that she'll laugh. You see? I boss her around. I tell her what she needs from the very beginning. I don't give her options because she doesn't want options. Her entire life is options. She's exhausted by options. If I say to her, I take her to the coffee shop, right? And I say to her, what would you like? Would you like a coffee? Would you like a scone? Would you like a muffin? Which kind of muffin? Carrot or banana or strawberry or blueberry or raspberry? It's exhausting. You see? You see how exhausting it would be for a woman? For anyone, quite frankly, but especially a woman who's under enormous stress that she is not constitutionally capable of handling, because that's not her role by way of evolution. Her role is to nurture, to soothe. Her role is not to choose. So I take her to the coffee shop and I choose for her. I say, I'm going to have a cafe americano, and you look like you want a mocha frappuccino. And she might say, no, I think I'll have that. Oh, okay, fine. And I order for her, and as well as for myself. I take over the interaction of her with the rest of the world. Now, you're going to say to myself, you're going to say to me, it's kind of ridiculous that you're emphasizing such a trivial exchange. Oh, no, 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 no. It's exceedingly important. See, Because see, how can I put this? Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg has this very interesting notion that what he wants, and what he's wanted for several years now, is for Facebook to be a layer, a buffer between the person and the entire internet. And that every interaction between a person and the rest of the online world has to go through Facebook. That Facebook will be a buffer. And that's a very interesting approach to social media and to Facebook as a business. And it gives you a lot to think of. Because see, that's exactly what you want to be insofar as a woman is concerned. See? You want to be that buffer surrounding her and controlling her interactions. And here's the crazy part. She wants this, insane as it may sound, because most guys do not understand this, because most guys do not have this desire, because most guys are guys. And we have been trained by evolution not to have any kind of buffer between us and reality. On the contrary, we want to experience reality directly so that reality doesn't kill us, see? Because that's been our evolutionary nature. But women, it's quite the opposite. They want to be protected by their social environment, see? And today, the social environment of most women is so incredibly fragile that a single person can become her entire social world. Because you see, she interacts with many people, her professors, her friends, this, that, the other, but she's looking for a place where she belongs, where other people make decisions for her. If you, from an interaction as trivial as getting a cup of coffee at a coffee shop in a museum, right then you start behaving like this buffer, she will fall in line. She will feel more relaxed. She will feel that you are taking charge. She wants this. You don't believe me? Okay, think of every other soy boy. How would he handle such a situation? Like I said before, he would give her limitless options, and they'd be there for half an hour trying to figure out what they want. And it would be incredibly exhausting and frustrating for the girl. Yeah. And her good vibes that she had towards you, they'll quickly evaporate because, again, that weight of having to choose, she doesn't want to choose. She wants somebody else to choose for her. It's the reason so many of these women look for sugar daddies. Sugar daddies, older guys, rich guys who can pay for everything, take them everywhere. A lot of guys, poor guys, young guys, think that girls want sugar daddies because they're whores. No, they don't want that at all. What's going on is that they want somebody who takes control of the situation, who takes control of their lives, who keeps them like under their wing, protects them and takes care of the world, takes care of the difficulty of the world, the bills, interactions with whatever. That's what they want. That's why they're looking for sugar daddies. Sugar daddies are incredibly popular at this time. There are lots of young girls who are dating older guys. Yeah, I know, I keep my ear to the ground. I know more or less what's going on. So many women are going for sugar daddies, and high quality women too. They're not whores. No, you have to understand what motivates them. It's not even money that motivates them. It's that sense of confidence that the man is confident and in control of his environment to such an extent that he is willing to allow her to enter into his environment and become part of it. And he will continue to navigate through the world and envelop her in this protection. That's what she's looking for, protection. You see? And in order to get this protection, in order to solidify this relationship of protection between the man and the woman, she's willing to submit, to be the submissive, not just sexually. Sexually, you have to understand, sex is just a component of a woman's psychology. It's a key component in many ways, but it's part of her overall psychological makeup. Insofar as her entire psychological makeup, she wants to submit. She wants to be the little girl to the dominant daddy. That's what she wants. She needs it. She craves it. And that's why sometimes some of these relationships slide into sadomasochism. where the woman wants the guy to spank her repeatedly, you know, to choke her, to tie her up, all that kind of stuff. It's because of this need to submit. She needs it. She yearns for it. Okay. Okay. And so to succeed with these women, how do you do it? Well, you start with the little things, like at the coffee shop, controlling her interaction with the rest of the world by you being the guy who controls it. You're the guy who says, young lady will have a mocha frappuccino and I'll have a caffè americano. And also, we're going to share a piece of apple pie. So give us 2 forks. Controlling the situation. At the restaurant, yes, the young lady will have the lobster and I'll have the steak. And I also want a good bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon. The lady won't be drinking because it always goes to her head. Like that. And the funny thing is that, see, a girl will laugh about it. She'll pretend to be like, oh, come on, don't be like that, but she will love it. Okay? It's not being an asshole. An unsuccessful guy will think, oh, he's being an asshole. No, he's taking control. Is there rudeness? Is there cruelty in the interaction? No, no, because it's not based on rudeness or cruelty. It's based on controlling her environment. She wants that, she craves that, she needs that. Controlling her environment. So you start by controlling a woman's environment, the little things, the restaurant, the coffee shop, right? And you make little compliance demands where you say, I want something. And you oblige her to follow along and do that thing. I want to get a cup of coffee. I want to go to this restaurant. Never, would you like to go to this restaurant? What do you think? No, 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 no. She doesn't have any thoughts. She doesn't have any desires. You're the one with thoughts. You're the one with desires. You lead and she will follow. That's the key issue. Then, of course, eventually you're going to be in bed with this girl, right? Okay, this is what I've heard from a lot of different people. Okay, what I hear from a lot of different people is that a lot of young guys do not know how to handle a girl in bed. Okay, and I mean, if this is all true, then I'm very disappointed in young guys today. Okay, because what happens is one of two things. Apparently, number one, they start trying to do things that they saw in some porno, right? Which is impossible because those sexual gymnastics, well, they only happen in porn movies. They don't happen in real life. Okay, number one. And they try to do things that a woman does not like and that scares a woman or that a woman will find like repulsive. Okay, that's one extreme. And the other extreme is the guy going, oh, do you like this? Oh, do you want me to do this? Oh, can I do this, please? Thank you. No, 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 no. Okay, both extremes are wrong. But what you have to do is basically handle a woman. How could I put it? Have you ever handled a dog? Now, not fuck the dog, okay? I'm not going into anything perverse like bestiality or any shit like that. But have you ever handled a dog? Yeah? How do you do it? Sometimes you're walking with a dog, right, on a leash, and the dog stops and sniffs something, and they get all involved in it. And so what do? You like just yank on the leash a little bit. And sometimes, the dog will sort of like resist because whatever it is that they're smelling, they're really into it. And so what you have to do is sort of like pull firmly and say, come on, do this. And the dog will be like, okay, that's what you have to do. Okay. You don't force any girl to do anything ever. Okay. Never force them, but you apply pressure to them and make it clear that it's something that you want. You don't offer choices. You eliminate choices. Okay. Now I'm going to go into some stuff here right now that's totally not safe for work. Okay. What I have noticed, and from different people I've spoken to in different situations, is that, see, if you basically make demands on a woman, sexual demands, that are a little outside of her comfort zone, but yet not too far beyond their comfort zone, then you're on the right track. Okay? I mean, I don't want to get more into it because it's kind of creepy, and I don't want to talk about it like that because I'm just not into like doing sex talks and shit. Okay, but what you have to do is make demands and make clear what you want, but yet make those demands such that they are not so far out of her comfort zone, just a little bit outside of her comfort zone. Hmm? Maybe she's not quite totally down to do something. And then you keep on pushing that. Not in the single first time you sleep with her, okay? The first time you sleep with her, you're really kind of like figuring each other out. Second time and third time as well. But when you hit the fourth and fifth time, you make demands that she's not 100% comfortable with. Maybe it's something that she said the first time you were with, she's like, oh, I don't really like doing that, whatsoever that may be, okay? Fellatio or anal or whatever the fuck. The third time, you sort of like, yeah, I want it. And the fourth time, and definitely the fifth time, you know, make the demand and make it until she complies. See? Because in a weird way, she wants to. Even if she says that she's not down for this or that or the other, maybe in the first time she says, oh, this is a hard limit for me. Whatever hard limit she has, it's not a hard limit. It's soft as cheesecake, I'll tell you that right now. In the end, she wants you to push her boundaries, not break her boundaries. That's a key issue. Not be violent or some crazy ass shit like that. No, never. But push her limits relentlessly, okay? Relentlessly push her limits. And also be thinking strategically, because see, you're not gonna push her limits on the first go or the second go or the third go perhaps, but on the fourth go, the fifth time, it'll happen. She'll eventually give in. And she wants to. That's the crazy part. That's the part that guys do not understand because our psychology is so different, because men and women are different. With a guy says, no, I'm never going to do this. Like, for instance, a girl can teasingly say, oh, it would be great to have a threesome, you and some other guy and me. And you're like, no, that's not going to happen. And you mean it. And no matter how many times that she repeats it, it ain't going to happen, right? Women aren't like that. Women are quite the opposite. You say to her, oh, it'd be great to have you and some other girl, and she's like, no, who do you think I am, right? And then you try it again, like the second time or the third time, and she'll like start thinking about it. Do you know why? Because she wants to stay in good with you. Women will go against every principle that they hold in order to stay in good with their man, with their social environment. Women will lie, cheat, steal in order to comply and remain in the good graces of their man or their social milieu. And that's as important, by the way. Her man or her social milieu, the one that's stronger, wins her out. Okay? That's why, for instance, a lot of women who have like these nasty little friends who talk shit about you, and you wind up breaking up with her, and you're like, what the fuck happened? We were doing great, and she just talked to these crones that are her friends, and all of a sudden we broke up. Well, because she talked to the social environment. The social environment was more powerful than you in her mind. Okay? To them, to her rather, they were more important than you. Perhaps not in the overarching scheme, maybe later she regrets it, but it doesn't matter. During that period of time, they were more important than you. Women will always go with what their man or their social milieu tells them to do. So if you're with a woman and she has friends, but nothing intense, nothing where it's really a group of friends who challenge your authority, okay? You tell her, the first time, oh, I think it would be great to have another girl, mix it up in the pot, as it were, right? She'll be outraged. And the second time, the third time, by the fifth or sixth time, she'll be down with it. And I will tell you from firsthand experience that you will be able to tell her, hey, baby, why don't you go get me a girl so, the three of us can fuck? And she will do it. Yes, because that's women's nature. They want to comply. And why do they want to comply? Because they need to comply, because it goes back to the core insight. Women cannot survive on their own without their social milieu, be it a group of friends and a society as such, or the man. They cannot survive and bear children at the same time. And so that's what's going on. You control a woman in bed. That's the second thing that you have to do. Control her sexually. And the funny thing is that, see, the contemporary culture allows this because a lot of women need this. A lot of feminists need it for the same reason that those New York bankers needed a dominatrix to whip them and shit for $1,000 an hour, right? And so these women are kind of like allowed to be sexually dominated, and they get into it. They get into it in a big way. And as you push their limits further and further and further, they become more and more bound to you. And they will slowly relinquish every decision, every major life decision, to what you think is good. And they will eventually be your submissive. Simple as that. Yeah. And you might not believe this, but it's true. Something else happens too, is that a lot of men, and myself included for the longest time, we were educated or have been educated into thinking that a woman should be our equal, our intellectual and emotional equal, that we should be a partnership. But see, that's a comforting lie. That's not how it works, not at all. Women don't want that. Men want that. We men want that kind of partnership. We want that partnership where we're equals, where we interact, we tell each other what we think, we express our feelings, our doubts and insecurities. We men want that. Women do not. Women do not want this at all. I mean, how many times have you had a girlfriend, right? And you had a girlfriend, and one day, you idiot, decided that you were going to tell her, your deepest, darkest insecurities. And you watched as she kind of like lost respect for you. I mean, you could see it in her eyes, how the light of respect sort of like started to dim. Okay. And I know what I'm talking about because it's happened to me. Okay. And I'm not going to go into the specifics because I'm too humiliated by it, but it was a lesson learned. Women don't want to hear the emotional crap that a guy feels. A guy has to deal with his own emotional shit on his own. No woman in her right mind wants to hear a guy's misery. She doesn't. Okay. She doesn't want to hear about his insecurities. On the contrary, when she hears about his insecurities and fears and doubts, she becomes uncomfortable with him. Why? Because she starts to question whether he will be able to provide for her, which makes sense from an evolutionary perspective. I mean, if a man tells her, oh, I'm really worried, I don't know if I'm going to get this job or this presentation will happen and we can make money and shit like that, she'll start to worry, well, maybe this guy is just not up to taking care of me and the kids that we might have. See? She might not think this consciously, but in the back of her mind, she will be thinking this. Okay? See, we men are romantic. We men want this partnership. Women don't. They want a strong man. They want a strong man, like Russian girls say, Russian, Belarusian, Ukrainian, Latvian, Estonian, all these women who speak Russian, because apparently it's a Russian expression. They want a man made of stone. That's what they want. They want a man made of stone. They want a man made of stone, and many of them say that they want to hide behind this man of stone. Huh? That should give you a fucking clue. See? So what you do is that as you start to dominate her, the way to do it and the way to make these women happy is to eliminate her options and her need to choose. That's what you do. Slowly but surely, and you have to be systematic about it. You have to slowly eliminate her options, and you allow her to choose the trivial shit. Like, for instance, which toilet paper do we use? Huh? Where do we live? You decide that. Where do we send the schools? You decide that. Where do we send the kids to school, rather? You make the big decisions. You make the decisions whether she is a stay-at-home mom or she goes to work. Yeah, you make those decisions. What to eat, what toilet paper, that kind of crap, let her decide. And in point of fact, give her more of those trivial decisions. Those trivial decisions that mean nothing, so long as you're controlling the big decisions. What I've noticed is that, see, a lot of young girls today, I mean, girls between the ages of, say, 20 and 27, when you start seeing them and you start sleeping with them, you start pushing their boundaries. The second you are with them, the very first time you try to figure out quickly what her boundaries are, and you sort of like make a note of them, and every time you're with them, you push those boundaries. Just a little bit more every time, no exception. Always pushing your luck, okay? And it might be that all of a sudden she's like, no, I'm not like that. I don't do that. And so like, throws a little bit of a hissy fit. And what you have to do is you have to calm them and soothe them like they were a child. You calm them and soothe them like, a puppy or something, You calm them and soothe them and get them back into that comfort zone. And then you go back and keep on pushing their limits. Perhaps not in that very session because, she just had a little hissy fit, right? And maybe not even the next one. You have to sort of like feel your way through, and maybe you figure out, the next time is not a good idea. Maybe, like for instance, you really want to fuck her in the ass, right? And she's never done it that way. And so you started like fingering her and, to sort of like break her in. And at first she's like, I don't know if I like it or not. And then you just finger her a little bit more, and then you slip 2 fingers and she has a little freak out, right? And then you're like, oh, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. But you don't even say I'm sorry. What you really say is, oh, I was just trying it out, see if you'd enjoy it, right? That's what you do. You never say I'm sorry. You say, oh, I was just trying it out, see if you enjoy it. And she'll be like, no, I didn't enjoy it. Don't do it again, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, fine, whatever. And you keep on fucking her and fine. And then the next time you have sex, you finger again with just a single finger, but the time after that, you slip in the second finger and see what happens. And the second time, and this is really interesting, what'll happen is that she will feel guilty about having another fight about the exact same thing, and she'll let it slide. I don't quite understand it myself, but that's the way women work, okay? You push for one thing, and she makes it clear that she doesn't like it. And then you wait a little bit and then do the exact same thing again. And there's this weird guilt that she will have, and she will accept it. And of course, this is not just fingering her ass to see if you can fuck her in the ass, right? No, it's in everything. Women are like that. It is the weirdest fucking thing because guys aren't. You push your luck on one issue with a guy and he says, no, don't do that. Okay, you stop, right? And then you wait a while and you try it again. He'll be like, nigger, I told you, don't do that again, right? And when I use the word nigger, I'm not being, racist. I'm just saying it as an emphasis of expression. You do that again, the guy is going to be like, no. And you do it 20 times, and every time he'll be like, no. But a woman isn't like that. A woman will, it's a weirdest thing. She'll sort of like feel guilty about objecting again. And on the other hand, what'll happen is that she will sense that it's something that you want, and she will want to make you happy. She will want to comply because women want to comply. Some women out and out say that they want to make people happy, but it's not that they want to make people happy. They want to comply with people's expectations of them. See? Because I mean, think about it. See, how do I make you happy? I mean, you are my Patreon supporters. I thank you very much, right? How do I make you happy? Well, because I comply with your expectations. You have the expectations that I'll deliver one video every week, every Wednesday, and one weekly webinar every Sunday, right? That's how I comply with your expectations. And I do so, and I'm doing so now as I'm speaking to you, right? And so what happens? You feel happy because you feel that I'm making you happy. What I'm really doing is I am complying with your expectations. You have a certain expectations, and I comply with it. You see? And in this situation, I'm acting like the woman because a woman wants this. She wants people happy. She wants to feel that sense that she is complying with other people's expectations. Because again, a woman cannot survive without a society around her, without a social group to help her get the calories so that she can survive with her child. And so when she senses that her social milieu is happy with her, i.e., when she complies with her society's demands, she feels relieved. You finger her one time, when you want to fuck her in the ass and you're trying to break her in and get her into that frame of mind that you want to have sex with her anally, right? You finger her the one time and she's going to be outraged. Then, two sexual encounters later, you finger her again, same as before, and she'll be like, okay. And then the time after that, you try to stick your dick in her, right? And she'll be like, no, I don't really want to, and you do it like the time after that, or maybe the subsequent time to that. And eventually she'll be like, okay. And she'll give it up every time. They want to, they need to. That's why so many women are into dominant submission. They are looking for an escape. They are looking to be relaxed. I'll tell you something that I've done more than once, as a matter of fact, as of late. And you're not going to believe me, but okay. Sometimes, I'm seeing somebody or whatever, banger at my place, whatever. And, I decide that I need to do something on the computer because, to tell you the truth, after sex, I'm like wide awake. And what I find really relaxing sometimes is to come to the computer and quickly do like a lot of emails and shit like that, right? The emails that I've been putting off, that, that kind of thing. I have no idea why, but that's the way I work, right? I'll do it for like half an hour. And you know what I do sometimes? And in a weird way, they really like it. See, I have this little desk nook in my living room in my house here in Amsterdam. And the sofa and the armchairs here in the living room, they have these cushions, right? They're just these square cushions. And so I tell her, hey, baby, why don't you gather up those square cushions and bring them over here? And I tried it. The first time I tried it, I thought that she might tell me to fuck off, right? But I was at my computer at the desk nook, right, working on emails, and she brought over the cushions, and she was like, a little bit confused, and I set them on the floor. I made a little, not a pile of them, but like a little nook, as if it were for a dog. And I told her, come here, lie down, curl up here, right here by my feet, like a good little puppy. And she kind of laughed. And like a joke, she did it. And she stayed there. Yeah. And I'd periodically stroke her head, and she took like a little nap. And I worked on my emails for a while. Yeah. And she was happy as a clam. She was totally into it. It's what, by the way, gave me this idea for this webinar, right? And I couldn't quite believe it the first time it happened, but then I did it with some other girl. Worked like a charm. And you're gonna say, no, this is insane. This is just whatever, or just crazy Dutch girls or whatever the fuck. Well, I don't know, but it works. They want it. They need it. Okay. And look, I'm telling you, like, my actual experience, and it's fucking crazy and weird, but people are crazy and weird. People do all sorts of crazy ass shit. But what's important is to understand why they are doing it. These girls I was talking to you about, they live in Amsterdam. It's a very expensive city. They have to work like dogs in order to pay for all the things that they want to do, for their apartments, for transportation, to have a good time. It's very expensive, and they're under enormous pressure. They are stressed out all the time. When a guy comes along and just takes over and becomes this like barrier between them and the world, and a soft, cushy barrier, like those pillows on the floor, and she can just relax and lay there and truly rest. She's so happy. And of course, she wants more of you. And that's the point, see? You don't have to be an asshole. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be cruel. You just have to eliminate options for her and take over. She wants that, okay? Because, and this is the final conclusion of this presentation, few people, be it men or women, truly want to be free. Most people need to be told what to do. Most people want to comply. Most people, men and women, want to be slaves. You have to understand that. And you have to understand that the vast majority of people just want to be told, go here, go there, do this, do that, and shut up and be happy. Here, have a cookie. That's what they want. They are yearning for it. Hmm? And young women in particular, under all of this pressure, these young women in particular who are so scared because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They have no clue. They're just trying to make their way through life. They have no idea what they're doing. They're scared. They have so much pressure, too many choices. And the men that they are, by evolution, programmed to desire, well, these men are weak because our society has fomented weakness among them. See? And so they don't know where to go, what to do. And you come along and you take over and they feel free. That's the paradox. They feel truly free. They feel liberated. Okay? So understand what's going on. Understand the position that you can potentially achieve with these women if you realize what you have to do. And what you have to do is not say, would you like this or would you like that? Do you want a muffin or do you want a cookie? No, no, no. When you're at the coffee shop, you look at her, you smile, and you say, you look like you want a mocha frappuccino. That's what I'm getting you. And you just order it for her and she will be happy. Okay, that's the end of my presentation. How long have we been going at this thing? Oops, 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 oops. Let me see here. We've been going on, oh, just about an hour. That's good. So we'll have like about an hour of questioning, and yeah, this is something that I've been thinking about a long time. And it's kind of crazy if you get right down to it, but people are like this, what can I say? People are just like this. So yeah. So anyway, let me start taking your questions. How many people we have? We got 78 people. Good, 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 good. 78, 77. Okay. Oh, how do you flirt with the, okay, anything having to do with COVID-19, it's different everywhere. I think it's stupid and it doesn't really matter because COVID-19 is going to be disappearing come February, okay? Because people are just going to realize that this was just a big old Democratic Party bullshit scam and people are going to forget about it and move on, okay? So don't worry about COVID-19. Come up with a different question, Sebastian. Chriso, wait. Yeah, Chris has a good question. So let me pull Chris in. Chris, are you there? Hello.
Yes, I am.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Doing well, Coach. My question in regards to the effect that a lot of women, Western women, it doesn't really matter what race, but as long as they're born or grew up in the West, they often go after these quote unquote foreign men, usually from very traditional cultures, usually fresh off the boat, whether it's Latin from the macho culture there or from other parts of the world. They go for them. They kind of expose that they are so. They marry them, and very often after marriage or even after kids, they divorce them because they realize, oh, these men are too domineering. How do you explain that phenomenon? The fascination kind of feeds into what you've been saying today, but then this rejection of that dominance, they often become single mothers.
Yeah, well, what happens there, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like a lot of these women go for the Middle Eastern guys, African guys, and whatnot, who come from much more domineering backgrounds, Latin American guys and whatnot. But see, these guys, and this is their fault, which you guys who are listening to me hopefully will avoid. See, they don't know when to stop. okay? And also, what's key, they want to decide everything. They micromanage every fucking decision, which is a mistake. See? It's perfectly fine to give a woman that you're with decision-making authority. The issue becomes what decision-making authority? Which questions? See? Is it which cities to live in, which countries to live in, or is it what toilet paper to get? You see? See, these guys, they are, I mean, first of all, most of them are not very educated, okay, by definition, because if they were educated and successful, they would have stayed in their home countries. Now, these guys who come out here, they're very domineering, very macho, and all the rest of it. And women respond to them. They go for them like in droves, right? But eventually they get sick of them and divorce them, like you say, and wind up single mothers because those men, because they are lower status, they are very insecure. And so they try to control every decision. You who understand this dynamic, what you do is you segregate a subset of issues that you allow the woman to dictate, but they are of course trivial issues. What to eat, what toilet paper to get, you know, and that kind of shit. Like for instance, in my own case, I let my wife decide all the furniture because I don't give a shit. Who cares? It's trivial. It's a trivial decision in the scheme of things. In other things, I make the decisions. The important things, I make the decisions. Where we live, what schools the kid go to, that kind of shit, I make those decisions. What the furniture is, who cares? I mean, it really, what does it matter? And the weird thing is that, see, when you allow her to focus on something fundamentally trivial, especially with something that has a lot of options, like furniture, like toilet paper, like whatever, but whatever it is trivial, there are so many options that it sucks out all of her attention. You see what I mean? And that's what you want to do.
And how would you explain the fact that a lot of women from these countries, they go for the nice Western guys,
Oh yeah, because
typical
they're sick.
Asian,
Yeah,
Asian wives.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They're sick and tired of the domineering guys back home in their country in the Middle East or Africa or Asia or South America, and they realize that Western guys are pushovers. And they can do whatever they want, and so they do. You know, see, it's as simple as that, and that's why you'll notice that marriages where it's a Western guy with Asian woman, they tend to last longer. You know, the women, the Western women, they kind of like get fed up with the guy with the non-Western guys quicker. You see what I mean?
Yes. Is it
Have you noticed that?
absolutely? And I haven't dated a Western woman. Again, it's not about race. It's not about she's white or whatever. It's about culture. I haven't dated a Western woman in at least 10 years, like seriously in a relationship.
Yeah,
I've always been
well,
going for whatever exotic there is. And because of what you've been saying, there is that cultural dynamic that they're on the one hand much more appreciative of a nice Western guy, and also
hmm
they recognize the negative aspects of the domineering, which for some reason, as you explained, Western women go for at the initial phase. They crave that domineering. They like being almost abused by these guys,
yeah,
but they
yeah,
snap out of it, and then they say all men are assholes. Like, no, you went with that guy, and he's not very
yeah,
educated. He's fresh off the boat. He doesn't understand. In his culture, that's what he does.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, you have to understand what's going on. See, it's not complicated. Yeah. Anyway, great talking to you, Chris. I
Thanks,
have to
coach.
ask. I got to get some
Okay.
questions here that are pretty good. And glad that you're here, Chris.
Always. Thank you.
Um, what you call it? The bend over. He had a good question that I want to get him to ask on stream on the webinar. Ben, are you there?
Yeah, hey, coach.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going well. I actually messaged you on Patreon. I
I can't read them anymore because what happened is that at this point there are so many messages that I've gotten, okay, that it just doesn't cycle up. The Patreon website, and I've reached out to them to find out what's going on. Because
oh,
like, let me see, in April, May, I was just getting so many questions that I couldn't keep up like I had before, right? But now I can't even access the questions because it's just sort of like clogged. And on Patreon, there's no way to throw away a message. See, uh, they just accumulate and pile up, and it's impossible. Like on my phone, on the app, it'll just cycle and cycle, and on the website, it crashes my browser. So it's kind of like whatever the fuck. So I don't know what's going on there. I've reached out to them to find out what's what, and I hope that eventually I'll get an explanation. So anyway, but what was the question that you asked?
My question is, I've been putting my head down for about 3 years. Been working 16, 20 hours a day. I'm 22 years old. I'm about to reach $500,000, and I dated a few women during my time. Like, I just get into relationships every time, and I get out of them, and I don't know how to approach them, and I don't know how to manage money and women at the same time. I've not had any experience with that, and I would like to have any of your input.
Okay, well, your question was how to date women when you have money, when you are looking for women that are not interested in that.
Exactly.
Well, that's kind of like an impossible thing because all women are essentially interested in the resources of the guy. And again, this goes to evolution. They want a guy with resources, okay? And so they are always going to find a guy with more resources, more attractive. There is no way to turn this off because there's no on-off switch on this particular issue, okay? It's like, let me ask you the following. When you see a woman who has no tits, I mean, just flat as a pancake, right? Do you find her as attractive as the girl who has like nice C-cup tits?
Nope.
Okay, then the exact same issue. There's nothing to be done. Okay, so this shit that all women are gold diggers and shit like that, it's like as if women were to say that, oh, all men have mommy issues because they always stare at a woman's tits. It's stupid. Okay, so get off that hobby horse, number one. Number two, you see, you have to understand that, how can I put it? A woman will take you more seriously if you have resources, but there are lots of ways that you can protect your resources from any kind of divorce, rape, or palimony suit or any shit like that. Okay, there are different ways to do that. But be that as it may, your financial resources will always be a part of who you are. And they will always color what a woman thinks of you. And there's no escaping that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, go ahead.
Sorry, I had another question if you want to finish.
No, go ahead. What's your other question?
My other question is, now I'm dating a girl. I dated a whore before. She like completely fucked up my life. Like something else. She was a stripper before. A lot of mental issues out of like extreme problems.
Okay.
And
I hope you picked better this time, man.
yeah, this time I picked a real lady, a real lady. The problem is she's not that bright, and she can't like medically have sex. And
she can't medically have sex?
yeah,
Why?
there's a problem of entrance. You can't like there's just an entrance problem. It just won't go in, and she screams of pain and tried
Then get another girl.
a different girl.
Yeah.
I feel so bad because like
It's tough. Life sucks. Life sucks. Okay. If, for instance, if she were just a normal girl that could have sex, but you couldn't get it up, she'd drop you. So don't feel bad about it. Whatever the fuck problem she has, if she has this kind of problem, then who knows what's, no, see, this is the problem that you know about so far. Later on, you're going to discover more problems with her.
I've been dating her for now 1.5 years, 2 years. And
you have never been able to consummate sex with her?
No.
Has she gone to visit a doctor to repair this problem?
Yes, a few times.
And
she hasn't managed to.
Then she doesn't want to. I forget. Move on. You're wasting your time. What are you doing with a girl who cannot have sex? Okay.
And one more thing, I always feel like all my exes, I want to take care of them. I want to support them financially. I want to make sure that. I don't know. I feel like they've been with me and they've been helping me to get to where I am, and I want to help them out too.
Well, okay, like this girl that you've been dating 1.5 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, the sex part, whether we like it or not, is essential to the man-woman relationship. Okay. Mm-hmm. You being unable to consummate a relationship with her, it sounds like a very bad sign. Okay. especially because she's gone to see doctors and this problem still exists. She doesn't want to solve it. Can I be brutally honest with you? Do you want the brutal truth?
Yeah, I want the brutal truth.
She probably doesn't want to sleep with you.
We do everything else
Yeah,
that's involving sex.
she just sees you as a friend. She doesn't want to fuck you. She doesn't want to reproduce with you. She doesn't want you. I mean, I hate to be the guy to tell you, but that's the truth. If you were my son, I would tell you this.
I appreciate the honesty.
And I'm telling you, my man, and I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, okay? I mean, I don't want to shit on you, okay? And of course, you have a pseudonym, right? I hope it's a pseudonym if it's bent
Yeah,
over,
it is a
yeah,
pseudonym.
because that would be a horrible actual name. But you know, I'm not trying to humiliate you. I'm not trying to put you down in any way, okay?
That is perfectly fine. I'm not put down. I really appreciate the honesty, and I really appreciate all the videos and all the help. Really helped me
And
understand my life
I'll tell you, my
growing
man,
up.
and I'm sorry to say, but she just doesn't want to be with you because, see, when a woman wants to be with you, she will move heaven and earth to be with you. Nothing will stand in her way. When she wants to fuck you, you know, she will fuck you if she wants to. She doesn't want to. If she's been with you for a year and a half and she has this medical condition that she's visited doctors or whatever, no, no, she doesn't want to. It's as simple as that. And and she will probably do like all kinds of sex stuff to get you off, but she doesn't want you penetrating her. And see, that's the key issue because insofar as a woman is concerned, that's the Rubicon. That's that's the key moment, penetration. Okay? It always matters. And a woman, when she wants a guy to penetrate her, she will figure out a way to get him to penetrate her. Okay?
Okay.
I mean, you're wasting your time with her. She doesn't want you, you know? And
Everything else she does just screams that she does. Everything else she does screams like she wants to be with me. Every time I leave, I left for a few months, and she just called me every day, wanted to be with me every day.
no, no, no. No, and you left her for a few months and she called you every day.
Yep.
Where was this? Where was she and where were you? I mean, just continents. I don't really care.
I was in Poland, and I live in Puerto Rico to avoid taxes.
Okay. And she was in Puerto Rico?
She's in Puerto Rico.
She's fucking another guy.
No, she never had sex. She's a virgin.
Well, whatever's going on there, she doesn't want to be with you. Simple as that. Or she's frigid, or she has problems. She has problems. Look, two possibilities. Okay. I mean, I could very well be wrong. And it could be that she doesn't want to have sex with you, but she has some sort of frigidity problems or whatever kind of problems that you cannot handle. That's one possibility. Okay.
Okay.
The other possibility is that I am right and she just doesn't want to have sex with you. She thinks you're great. She likes you. She might even convince herself that she loves you, but she doesn't want to have sex with you. See? So one way or the other, either she has issues of frigidity and God knows what that make it impossible to have sex with her, or she just doesn't want to have sex with you. Either way, it's the same outcome. Move on. You're just wasting your time, you know? And like I said, it gives me no pleasure or no satisfaction to tell you this, okay? I mean, I hope that that's really, really clear. But I'm telling you for your own good because you're going to be wasting time with somebody who just doesn't want to be with you, okay? And the fact that you asked me this question, okay, even though you've been with her for a year and a half, you kind of already know that it's not really the future for you now, don't you?
I always tell her that this is not going to be for the long run.
Yeah, well, cut it out now because you're wasting your time. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Really
sorry, but
appreciate the advice. It's all good.
no. I'm trying to be honest because I think that too many times we are too polite because we don't want to hurt people's feelings, but sometimes you have to hurt people's feelings when you tell the truth, and sometimes it's more important that they know the truth and feel bad, but they know the truth so they can deal with it and figure out a way to improve their lives. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem, Ben. Take it easy, man. Talk to you soon.
I appreciate it.
Let me see here. Mark. Mark Sanchez. I don't think I've ever spoken to Mark Sanchez, so we'll bring him on. Mark, are you there? Hello, my man.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm right here.
How's it going?
Uh, it's going good. It's going great.
So what's on your mind? You have a question here.
All right. So I've been married 5 years. Got married when I was 21.
Yep.
Very young. Uh, Basically, we've been pretty toxic the entire time, fighting, making up, fighting, making up. Just found the red pill stuff not too long ago from my friend Raymond.
Mm-hmm.
And ran into a big roadblocks. So basically, she has been wanting to go out a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
And
You got
then
kids?
she said, "Oh, no kids, no kids. Lucky
Okay.
enough." But she stayed out all night, and I told her like, "Hey, I don't like that. Don't go out." The next day, to prove a point, she stayed out all night and basically hiding, like trying to hide her information from me. I tell her, "Show me proof." She don't want to show me proof. Now she's trying to prove it to me. I basically distanced myself for the past 2-3 weeks, saying, "Hey, look, this is not gonna work out. I'm basically going to get a divorce." But I don't know. I don't. My question is like, I'm kind of still confused on this whole situation. Yeah.
Divorce her.
Yeah.
And I'll explain why. But divorce her, because she's stepping out on you. She's probably making out with other guys, probably sucked some other guy's dick. Okay? I mean, definitely kiss some other guy, for sure. And that is the kiss of death as far as I'm concerned. Okay?
Yep.
And probably suck some other guy's dick. Okay? And perhaps even fuck some guy. Okay? If she stayed out all night, yeah. Okay? Because here's the thing. When a woman says that she wants a night out with the girls, and it's like the one night, and the next day and the day after that, she talks about it in detail. Because women, when they have that kind of situation, they'll talk about it in detail and say all the crazy stuff that they did, which is not very crazy for the most part.
Yeah.
And they'll relate what the other girls did, and they'll gossip about it to you.
Yep.
Then you know that she really just wanted to go out and have a nice time, but she had no intention of replacing you. Okay. When she goes out on a night out with the girls, but sort of like hides what happened and doesn't mention it at all and pretends like it never happened, but then wants to go out again, then she's
Oh
doing
yeah.
something that she's guilty about, that she knows that you're not going to dig. You see what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, it's happened to me many times that I've been with some girl for a while, and she wants to go out with the girls, and they just want to have a drink and shoot the shit and laugh and giggle and whatever, and that's perfectly fine. But when they are hiding what they did, because most of the times in these situations, your woman, if she's happy in your relationship, she'll come back and she will tell you all about what happened that night because she will know that she's innocent. She didn't do anything. Okay?
Yep.
But when she hides it, she did something bad.
Yeah. I
So
I
you're on the right
recently
track.
when that happened, I basically said, "Hey, look, I texted her the same night, okay, I'm gonna get the divorce papers," and she didn't. I guess the next question is, when you bring up something like that,
She didn't say a thing?
days or so, like I said, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, she stayed at her mom's house, not even trying to fix it, like with actions.
Dude, move on. She wants to get divorced, okay? So, yeah, it's over, okay? I mean,
Now she's trying, but you know,
no. She might be trying now just sort of like to save face kind of thing, but she's not really trying. And she was fucking around on you, okay? And look,
yeah,
what you should do is for your own peace of mind, eh, talk to her really calm and tell her something like, look, I just want to know, you guys, when you went out, did you like, and I'm not going to be mad, you tell her, I'm not going to be mad, just tell me the truth. When you went out, did you like kiss some other guy or something like that? Or did something like that happen? I mean, like be really like easy, like almost beta. Actually, be beta, it doesn't really matter, right? Get her to tell you the truth. Or because she's not going to tell you the whole truth, but she might tell you, yeah, I sort of like kissed some guy.
yeah.
And
She
she
got
says,
flowers that night.
yeah. Oh, she got flowers that night?
Yo, yeah.
Oh, she fucked some guy. Come on, man. Okay, it's as simple as that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be so brutal. Okay, but dude, okay. I mean, forget it. It's done, okay? It's done like a steak in a barbecue. It's done, okay?
Yeah.
So just move on, okay? And now what you want to do is protect whatever assets you have. You want to make sure that she doesn't hit you up for, alimony or shit like that, you know? And what would be smart is somehow get some statement that she won't pursue you for any kind of alimony, and you make her sign it when you have like a fight or something and she feels really guilty. I mean, do whatever it takes to protect yourself, because the fucking relationship is over, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay?
absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem, dude. Tell me how it goes, and best of luck to you, sincerely.
See you next Sunday.
See you next Sunday, man. Okay. Um, Michael Zhu has a question. Sure, Michael. What's up? Here, I'm unmuting you. Hello, Michael. Are you there?
Hey, Coach.
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad. My question is, how do I learn game? What type of training program can I go into to learn more game?
Oh, that's easy. See, there are a lot of different people who teach game, and it's all basically the same. Okay, this is a key. You have to understand it. It's sort of like calculus. There are a lot of different books that teach you calculus, right? A lot of different professors teach you calculus, but it's always the same fucking subject. They might teach you in a slightly different way or different concepts in different words and whatnot, but the basis of it is always the same. Same with game. Because game originally was based on observed reality of how women reacted, and it was trial and error, and it works. That's why I became interested in game, because I came across game, the concept of game, in 2012, I believe, and I remember reading it and kind of like laughing on the one hand, but on the other hand, extremely curious. And the concept that struck a chord with me was negging, Negging, negging. Negating. That's what it's an abbreviation for. Negging was this concept whereby you would subtly put down a woman, but not humiliate her, but just a subtle condescension towards a woman. And you see, I myself had developed the exact same concept, only I mentally called it something totally different. I called it good puppy. See? Like treating a woman like, oh, you're a good puppy, like tapping her on the head almost and being condescendingly superior. And I'm like, this negging shit is exactly what I do, and I call it, good puppy, but it's the same goddamn thing. And then I started reading more about game, and I realized that a lot of things that I did were things that had been proven in game worked, because these guys had gone out and trial and error, right? Now, in my own, of the people that I know that I would recommend Kezia Noble. She seems to know what she's doing. She's actually a woman, and she is a post-wall woman, and she's British. And I think that she's actually a good resource, because since she is a woman, she can tell you that the shit works. And the people who do her classes seem to get ahead. Now, right now, I'm telling you this, and I don't have any kind of affiliate relationship with her, okay? I'm just telling you, that I would recommend her. But there are a lot of other guys that you should check out, okay? And I would recommend that you read Neil Strauss's book, The Game. That's very, very useful. And also find copies of Roosh V's books, because Roosh V has become a Christian and he's anti-game now, right? But Roosh's books were very, very good and very useful. So if I were you, I'd go check them out, okay? So Kezia Noble, that's Kezia Noble, Noble. And Roosh V is Roosh, Roosh, letter V, Roosh V, okay? And go check them out. And the book, like I said, it's called The Game by Neil Strauss. You can probably find some PDF version floating around there on the internet, so you don't have to actually buy it on Amazon or whatever. It's a very interesting book, and it'll give you like a primer, like a roadmap to the whole scene. Okay, even though the book is like, I think 10 years old at this point, but it'll give you a real good roadmap as to what's what. Okay, so yeah, I hope this helps out, man.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lira.
No problem, Michael. And yeah, you take care now. Where are you at, by the way?
I'm from Canada.
Oh yeah, and what are you doing out there? Studying, working, what?
I was working like construction right now, but I'm hopefully going to school.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Yeah, and why are you going to school? What were you doing before, I mean, between high school and now?
I studied for like a science degree, but I realized I didn't really like it after 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So looking back, I didn't really learn anything in college.
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to go to radio, get into show business because I hate my life right now.
You hate your life right now. And
Yeah.
why do you hate your life?
I don't know.
Well, come on, you have to have some reason as to why you hate your life. What's so bad about it?
I guess I don't know. I think I'm just depressed, but hopefully that'll change.
Why do you think you're depressed?
I haven't really thought about it.
Well, I've noticed in my own case, there have been times, years, that I've been depressed. And yeah, that was finally fairly miserable. But I've noticed that the most stressful times of my life, I wasn't depressed. In the most stressful times of my life, I was under so much stress and pressure and trying to survive that I couldn't afford to be depressed. You're only depressed when your situation is fairly comfortable. When you're getting your basic needs met, you've got food, you've got shelter, you've got clothing. That's when you're depressed. And
That's
often
true.
as not, you're living with your parents.
Yeah, my parents are rich.
Okay. So you're probably, your situation is comfortable enough that you don't have to strive for anything. Okay. And so what would be smart would be to kind of like cut off the money spigot from your parents. And that's incredibly difficult and very few guys can do it. Because, that money, it's like, we're all money junkies. Mhm. And that, nice injection of money into your life, it feels terrific. It keeps you afloat. It keeps you playing video games and jerking off and not doing shit. You see? And so what you have to do is you have to create the conditions where you're desperate. I mean, if you cut off the money spigot from your parents and move out and move to some shitty place and you're barely surviving with the cash from your construction job, perhaps even deliberately spark a fight with your parents such that they cut you off, you're going to be miserable, but you'll feel more alive. You won't be depressed anymore. I mean, fuck it. I mean, I hate to sound like an asshole, but you sound depressed. So maybe you should just inject a little bit of chaos into your life, deliberately inject some chaos into your life so you feel more alive. Because look, do you want to merely exist or do you want to actually live? I'm asking you, which do you
Hmm.
prefer?
I would say to live.
Then what you have to do is just, you know, jump into the pool, cut off that money spigot because that money spigot is what is keeping you down and depressed. And the thing is, see, if your parents, you're telling me that they're rich, right?
Yes.
Potentially, your entire life can pass you by and you will have nothing to show for it. Is that what you want?
Absolutely not.
See, I've said this before many times that when I was in college in my first semester at Dartmouth, I was falsely accused of sexual assault and harassment. And I had come from Chile and I had very, very little money. And when they suspended me, I had no place to go. It was incredibly difficult. I had to talk my way into places to live, crashing at people's houses, and I barely knew them. I talked my way into a job in DC. I was desperate all the time. I was incredibly frightened and unhappy. But retrospectively, it was the time that I felt most alive in my life. Hmm? That kind of desperation, that kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to make it, that sheer terror makes you feel alive. If you don't have that naturally happen to you, you're going to have to artificially create it. That's my thought on this issue. I hope this helps you out, man.
I think so. Thank you, Gonzalo.
Take it easy, Michael. I hope I catch
Thank you.
you next week.
For sure.
Okay. Uh, let me see. Let me see. Oh, Joseph has a good question here. Let me hit up Joseph here. Sorry for the pauses because I have to like read through the questions, and I don't have a producer feeding me questions into my earplug, right? I'm my own producer. Joseph, you there?
Yes, hello, coach. Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you loud and clear. Read the
Okay,
questions.
perfect.
Pretty good.
Yes, so how would you seduce a girl who you suspect is a dominant? Would you present yourself as that dominant man who you were describing through this webinar, or would you appear more submissive to lure her in?
Dominant.
Dominant. Okay.
Yeah. So she looks at it like a challenge. Okay. And what's interesting is that, see, a lot of these women who put themselves out as dominants, right? They're actually submissive. They're looking for the guy who can tame them. Okay. They're looking
Okay.
for their master. They're looking for that.
If I may, I just want to say like a brief story about how I came up to this question.
Sure.
I had a class like last year. I spent 6 months on an exchange program in Arizona, and I took a course where this woman, she wasn't like the main teacher, but she was like the assistant.
Okay.
And the assistant, I forgot what you call that person in college, but this assistant, she was exactly like my physical type.
Okay.
And I knew I was only there for 6 months, but I didn't know what to really do to kind of get in with her, because she was on her way to a successful career, and in the end of that semester, she landed a job. I forget which company, but it was in the Fortune 100 companies in the US. And I was thinking, well, she seems to be so dominant and everything. Like, I was afraid that I would insult her if I appear to be like the dominant one, the one who makes all the decisions for her. If I'm just like the man and she's the woman. But now, after listening to your webinar, I'm like, holy shit, if I was just doing the same thing that I always did whenever I was pursuing a girl, which was very effective, then maybe I would have had that chance.
Yeah, you would have. Simple as that. See? Now you know. Look, all women want to submit. All women. Even the ones who project themselves as dominant. All women ultimately want to submit and be the plaything slave of a guy that they respect. Okay? They want that. They yearn for it. Okay? A lot of the women who project themselves as dominant, see, it's sort of like they put themselves out there as dominant because they are looking for the guy who can turn the tables on them. They chase after that guy, you see? And a guy that they can dominate, they sort of like, whatever.
But what if that's the place she can escape to? If I would be like that submissive guy, and she would be like,
it's not gonna work. No.
Okay.
No, because what happens is, see, if you present yourself as a submissive guy, right? All guys today are presenting themselves as submissive, as nice guys, as respecters of women and shit like that. And so she's gonna have a lot more choices. See? See, that's the other thing. See? The irony is that women want a dominant guy, and there are so few men who are acting in a dominant way. They are all trying to be the nice guy. I mean, they are bending over each other to see who's the nicest guy of them all. And that's why a woman doesn't want any of them. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Especially here in the West, I feel like that's happening like to the nth degree.
Yeah. So no, don't do it. Don't what you call it? Always try to be dominant, but remember, you want to be dominant, but you don't want to be cruel or rude.
Exactly. Yeah. Not domineering, but dominant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dominant, but not domineering. Very well put. Yeah. Great talking to you, man.
Great talking to you too.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you next week. Let me talk to Alexander. Zivkovic. Alexander, I'm unmuting you now. You have a long question, so why don't you hit us up with it? Alexander, are you there? Let's see if he pops up and turns green here. Alexander, you there? Hello. He's not coming on, so I'll read the question that he put. He said, I have lost my wife because of that, giving her everything, money, freedom to choose options, but crucial mistake I did, discover her a few years ago, my past insecurities, but I don't care so much for that loss. I care and concerned for my 3 sons, oh boy, because she absolutely felt under influence of her work colleague with whom she does cheating me. Oh God. I ask you, if I understand you right, my enemy is he, not her. Great regards for you from Belgrade, Serbia. Okay, Alexander, I think I understand the question. So I'm going to repeat the question because you obviously can't speak. So I'm putting down your hand and I'm going to repeat the question as I understand it. And you tell me in the question part if I understood you correctly. You basically gave your women all the freedom she wanted, money and freedom to choose options, whatever. But she wound up having an affair with a work colleague, and you guys have 3 kids in common. Is that correct? Put a thumbs up in your raise a little hand if that is basically correct. I don't know if. Okay, that it is. Okay, so. Okay, look, first of all, when a woman cheats on you, you never take her back, never, period. Okay, this is, don't ever do it. If she cheats on you, even if you have 3 kids, it's over, okay? It's as simple as that. You will never repair the relationship. Some people try and some people say, oh yeah, we worked it out. Your self-respect as a man will never recover. She will never respect you because she cheated on you once and you took her back. It's as simple as that. Because when a man cheats, it's different. He's just sticking his dick in a hole. And guys are programmed to do it. They don't give a shit about the hole. They just want to stick it in and ejaculate, okay? A woman will be very upset if you cheat on her, but she will be absolutely crushed if you have a romantic relationship with another woman. Yeah. Because for women, see, the emotional attachment, a man, her man, attaching himself emotionally to another woman, that's much more important. Again, because of evolution. Because you see, if a woman cheats on a man, she might become pregnant with that other man's child and therefore cuckold him, and he might wind up raising another man's child. But if a man cheats on a woman, he'll just leave some bastards around. But it doesn't matter because if he has no emotional relationship with those women, he will never bring them resources. He will only bring the resources to the wife who is the mother of his legitimate children. So she will be quote unquote upset that he's fucking some other woman, but oddly enough, she won't really be upset. And in a weird way, she'll actually kind of like it that the man can go and fuck other women, get other women to fuck him, but still he comes back to her and she's his primary, okay? So you have to understand the dynamic that's going on. Now, your woman cheated on you, it's over. Just accept it and act like a grown-up. Because a lot of times what happens is that you, as a human being, want to recapture the good old days. But see, the past can never be recaptured, okay? Once the past is gone, it's gone. You might have had a very close relationship, a very loving relationship perhaps with your wife, and you had 3 children. I mean, that counts for something. But she cheated on you, she'll do it again. She could do it again. She'll never respect you. And you will never respect yourself. Oh, shit. Hang on. Oh, damn it. So you'll never be able to respect yourself. It'll never work. Okay? So no. You just have to move on. And I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but that's the truth. Okay. Sorry, I got thrown by this. You don't want. Okay, he says, I don't want her back. I want to figure out how to get my kids back. I am following you from phone. How can I talk to you? I am 45. It's clear to me. Okay. Let me unmute you and see if you can come on. But I'll be honest with you. I don't know what you want. Alexander, you're there? Okay. Because you say that you want to figure out how to get your kids back. That's something I can't help you with. I have no idea. It'll depend on the laws of your country. Okay. And so I have no idea how you'd go about doing that. But what I would say is if your children are over the age of 10, you should tell them that you should be frank with them and make it clear that their mother was the one at fault. Okay, don't try to protect her what you would call it, her reputation with the children. Be upfront about it. Okay, I mean, you didn't cheat on her, now did you? No, she cheated. So yeah. Okay, let me okay, here's a quick question that's easy to answer. Cole Washington says, what should you do with a woman before giving her your number in order to increase the chance of her contacting you? There's no way to do that. There's no way to increase your chances that she'll call you. Either she will or she won't. So don't worry about it. Okay? I mean, you got to keep in mind, you never worry about those things that you cannot control. You cannot control whether she will call you or not. So don't worry about it. Okay? And after our first meeting, there is really absolutely nothing that you can do to increase your chances. It's literally, what you call it, it's beyond your control. So don't worry about it. Okay. Oh man, fuck it. I'm getting a call from somebody that I can't talk to them right now. And so, sorry about that. Okay, so let me just focus back on the webinar, and I'm sorry about that, guys. It got annoying, and I got like discombobulated by the phone. Why do? Oh, this is a good question, Raj. Let me pull Raj in. I don't think I've ever spoken to Raj. Raj, are you there?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. Where are you calling from?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Oh yeah, the land of the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
So what's on your mind, man?
Just a quick question. Why do women turn their sons into nice guys / beta? Because I know like some women they just want them to be like, provide them money instead of, being like a man. And I was just curious.
Yeah, because they don't understand what men are. Most women don't understand men. Just as you don't understand most women, or most guys don't understand women, women don't understand men.
But
Yeah, go ahead.
when you're like kind of an asshole to them, they kind of get turned on by that. So
Yeah.
like how do they not know, what turns them on? Are they that stupid?
No, it's not stupidity. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that, see, we can't control what turns us on, but we have certain ideas of what turns us on that are just erroneous. Okay? We don't
Okay.
know ourselves. Okay, let me give you an example. You know that eating that fucking third cheeseburger is going to be bad for you, right? But yet you eat it anyway. It's a failure to control yourself, a failure to know yourself. So what should you have done? Not eaten the third cheeseburger? No, you shouldn't have gone. I'm going to mute you because you have something going on in the background there. What you have to do is just avoid going to the fast food place. That's what you do because you know yourself. In my case, for instance, I know that if I go to a fast food place, I'm going to order like 2 double cheeseburgers with bacon. Okay. And the next day I'm going to pay for it. So I just don't go anywhere near a McDonald's or a Burger King. I just don't. I want to all the time, but I don't because I know myself. But most people don't know themselves. Most people do not understand what drives them. Most people don't look at themselves and say, I acted like this and like that when this happened. Why was that? They don't introspect. Most women do not introspect. The vast majority of women do not introspect. Do you know how I can prove this? Because most great poets are men, not women. Men are great at introspection. Yeah. And it comes from an evolutionary need because, see, if you fail at something, what do you wind up doing? You start studying, well, why did I fail? So that I can improve the next time. But women don't act like that. They don't study why they fail. They don't. All they care about is how they feel. And they try to increase the good feeling, whereas men try to get better results. Again, it's from evolution, okay? And so that's why men, they fail at hunting the woolly mammoth, and so they start studying and introspecting and wondering, why did I fail at capturing the woolly mammoth? Whereas women, they try to feel good about themselves, and they try to make themselves feel good about themselves regardless of the cost. That's what's going on, see? So anyway, going back to your question, Raj, well, what's going on is that the women think that a nice guy is a guy that they want. They want a nice guy, they think. And so they try to turn their sons into nice guys. And also, well, basically that. And so what happens is that they turn their sons into nice guys. And since those boys are either raised only by women or by men and women married, but the man is a weakling, the father is a weakling who doesn't give the kid a good example, well, then the kid becomes a nice guy, a nice beta, and he doesn't live up to his potential and he gets walked all over. That's what's basically happening. You see, Raj?
I do.
Yeah,
So,
anything else on you? Go ahead.
So, like, how do you ever think that feminism's ever going to end? Like, there's going to be a point in
Not,
time where everyone's going to be like, this is wrong morally and just everything about it.
it'll take a revolution. It'll take a civil war.
Oh,
Yeah, this shit is going to be with us for a while. I personally think that there's going to be a civil war pretty soon because people are at a point that they hate each other. I mean, and the lines are pretty clear, you know?
yeah.
I mean, we pretty much know who we hate and who is on our side. Yeah. So,
Mississippi's more conservative about all this, so it's not as bad here than other spots. So,
but it's bad enough there as it is, right? So imagine what it's like in
true,
other places.
true.
It's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it was
So,
good talking to you. Thank you.
no, my pleasure, Raj. Thanks very much for being on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And let me get here to I'm sorry about this. I'm trying to look through the questions here. Man, I gotta change my contact lenses. I can barely see a goddamn thing. Hit me up with your questions because I'm going to wind it down a little bit and either have answered the questions or the questions are kind of like they were covered in the actual webinar. So hit me up with some questions if you have any. And let me see. Oh, Amin has something interesting here. Let me hit Amin up. Amin or Amine, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Are you there? Hello, Amin or Amine.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you, Coach?
Pretty good, pretty good. You have a really good question. Why don't you hit us up with it?
Yeah, listening to your webinar, you mostly covered the issue of being dominant with the girl that you're romantically involved with. I'm just curious, for those women that you are not romantically involved with, a colleague, a boss,
do the same.
anyone, yeah.
Do the exact same. And I'll tell you why. The reason you want to act the same way is practice.
Practice, okay.
Yeah, because see, if you're like with an older woman that you have no romantic interest in whatsoever, you can practice different strategies and tactics. See, because you never get good at anything without some practice. So a woman that you are definitely not romantically interested in, you can practice your attitude and see how it works. Remember,
Okay.
it's not an attitude of being cruel or rude. It's an attitude of you getting your way. And you can also practice it with weaker men, okay? Deliberately practice it. And I'll tell you something that is crucial. And I've been thinking about doing a video about it, but I haven't had the chance. But anyway, the point is, think of the following. Think of in terms of never say, I would like X. Always say, I want X. Okay? And never ask somebody what they want. Rather, state what you want and try to get them to agree with you. Okay?
Right. I noticed
Go ahead.
that I noticed sometimes I would feel a certain resistance. Like my logical mind tells me, yes, this is the right way. Just express you want it. Don't be nice about it. But there is a certain resistance inside that I don't know. It just comes from years and years of being brainwashed to be a certain nice guy.
Exactly.
And it's just a struggle inside. And look, your mind tells you, look, this is the right way. Don't put yourself in a weak position. But
exactly.
But it's not like exactly like you said. It's practice. It's the more you practice it, the more natural it starts to feel.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But you have to consciously practice it, and like I said, you have to fine tune it, because you don't want to be an asshole. You just want to be somebody who takes control of a situation. Okay.
Right.
And that everybody falls in line and does what you want. And when somebody challenges your authority, you don't fight them. You don't muscle up your soldiers and to go to confront that challenge. No, you take it easy. See, it's a delicate balance of learning, testing. You'll find sometimes that some guy will try to like challenge you, and you just allow it and just let it slide. Like a tactical retreat kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the tide is turning more in your direction, you reestablish your own dominance. You see?
Right.
But you never go for an open battle, okay? And whenever anybody says, sort of like calls you out, as it were, you just play innocent. You say, well, what are you talking about? I'm just just saying that this would be a good idea. I mean, like downplay it. Never be confrontational, but just be relentless. That's the key element. Relentlessness. That's something I didn't emphasize in the webinar. You have to be relentless, never stopping, always having a clear goal of what kind of dominance you want to establish, and just repeating it and going over it over and over until you get it. Because you'd be surprised, most people give up. That's a key insight. Most people give up, okay? If you don't give up, well, you get your way. See what I'm saying?
I have one comment to say, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
So I'm 40 years old, and I just have a comment for all the guys here that are under 30, they're in their 20s. Just want to say how fortunate they are to have someone like you who can eloquently put things for them like this, because I didn't have an older brother. I didn't have someone to look up to, and I feel like I'm late to the game in so many things in life, because these things were not taught to us. So yeah, it's really an advantage for younger guys, especially. They're just still trying to figure things out in life, to have someone to give them something solid without trying to be nice, without just give them direct value, something that could, especially now we live in really tough times. So I just want to say that, and thank you for what you do for men. It's very, very helpful.
Thank you very much for your kind words. I very, very much appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Coach.
Take it easy. Talk to you next week.
Take care.
RM has a question here about a case that he had, which is kind of interesting. So let's hit up RM. RM, are you there? Hello. Hello, RM.
Yes, I'm unmuted now, I guess. Good, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. What's on your mind?
It's so embarrassing to say that. So
Don't
I
worry about it.
used to have a Russian Ukrainian girlfriend, and I couldn't make her to do some of the stuff I wanted to do in bed.
Uh-huh.
So I always left it as a cultural difference or cultural disconnect, as she said that she's a lady, she's not that kind of a girl, and so on. Wanted to know your opinion on that.
Hang on a second. Well, what you have to do is be relentless. Okay. And she says that she doesn't like it, whatever it is. Okay. Can you tell me specifically what it was that she didn't like?
Just fellatio.
Oh, no. You got to make sure that she does it. Yeah. Fellatio is
We,
actually
we are we have broken up, so there's no point. But I just wanted to know my mistakes.
You always some girls don't like it at all. Okay, I'm gonna mute you because there's like I'm hearing myself. So let me just mute you for a bit. I'll unmute you at the end of what I have to say. A lot of girls don't like it, and because they fundamentally know that they are ceding a lot of their power when they do it. Okay, a lot of girls love it precisely because of that. Fellatio is actually like an important aspect in the power dynamic between men and women. A woman who does it, she's ceding, okay? And she's on her knees, okay? Sucking you off, yeah. And what you want to do in that situation is really make it clear as to who runs the show, okay? Make it really, really clear. And don't reciprocate, okay? Because see, if you reciprocate, you're like getting down at her level, but you don't want to be ever doing that now, do you? On the contrary, you want her to be on her knees in front of you. Yeah, and she'll know it. She'll know it, you'll know it. This Russian Ukrainian girl who didn't want to do it, she said she didn't like it or whatever, she wanted to avoid that situation because she knows, every woman knows that when they do that, they cede a big piece of power because it is fundamentally humiliating, okay? And a woman who humiliates herself to a man and is with that man, both of them will always know. It's a weird thing about humiliation between the sexes. See, a woman who humiliates herself in front of her man, she can live with it. And in a weird way, she will be more attracted to her man because of it. But a man who is humiliated by his woman, there is no future in the relationship. That's the way it is, okay? And so fellatio is a part of it. It's a big part of that. And so that's what's going on. You see what I mean, RM? I unmuted you, by the way. Hello, you there? I think we lost. Oh,
no, yeah. So
okay.
actually that's how it ended. Like we had power struggles.
Yeah.
She wanted to stay in town. I will say I'm leaving after I'm done with the school. Like, you have a good job here, but my future is not here, and it's how it ended. So yeah, the power struggle was real.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope this helps you out. Great talking to you, RM. Hope to catch you next week.
See you next week.
Thank you. Take it easy. Okay, guys, I am going to call an end to this webinar. We've been going 2 hours, and I got a call that I actually have to get back to. But I wanted to tell you a couple of things. First of all, no matter what, you always have to protect your dignity. Never humiliate yourself in front of a woman, because, like I said before to RM, in the games of humiliation, right? A woman will become reconciled to the fact that she was humiliated by her man, and she will accept it, and in a weird way will be turned on by it. But a man who is humiliated by a woman, she cheats on him or whatever, the relationship will never recover, okay? So you got to keep that in mind. It's an issue of respect. You have to insist that the woman respects you. If she doesn't respect you, you drop her. It's simple as that. If she tells you, oh, we'll meet at such and such a place, and then, an hour before you're supposed to meet, she says, oh, I can't make it. She does that once, maybe, but then, you know, she's toying with you and you feel it, drop her, okay? You always want to be the one in control. It is better to not be with a woman than to be with a woman who is toying with you, who is fucking with your head, okay? And you have to understand what's going on. Now, insofar as dominance and submission is concerned, see, like I said, most women want to be dominated for the reasons that I outlined. You have to understand that most of them are exhausted, especially the girls who are like 25, who are working, who have an adult life. They are slowly discovering and realizing that their life is shit and they hate it, but they don't know what to do. They're stuck. And so they continue living this life, but all they want to do is surrender control. And you have to be man enough to take up that control and tell her what to do, where to go, how to be. And she will be happy and she will be the woman that you want her to be. But you have to take control. It's like a horse that's running, yeah, and nobody has the reins in hand. You have to grab the reins of the horse and control that horse. Because oddly enough, the horse wants to be controlled. The horse doesn't want to be running around hysterically. Same with women. They want to be controlled. They want to be lying at your feet on some comfortable cushions, all curled up and taking a little nap, and you periodically petting them on the head. They want that. So give it to them. You see what I'm saying? Okay, guys, it's been great talking to you. I hope to catch you next week. Take care and see you soon.